all the people who have been past presidents of MSTA, please stand, and we'll have you introduce yourselves. Past presidents. Okay, starting with Marlene. State your name and what years you were president, or if you don't exactly remember, what decade. Right, if you hit everybody, oh wait. And I filled in 04 to 06. Okay. All right, now, we also invited newsletter editors. So, past newsletter editors and present.
Scott Walker, somewhere in the 90s, back when there was paper. It's unbelievable now, the PDF. I envy you doing your job. It's a wonderful one. It looks great.
And Jerry Curran. And we have a past MDE science specialist, my predecessor. And it's also interesting that Derek has his son sort of tagging along at the conference, and we may have a future president there too. Okay, we're very excited that you could join us and be part of this special occasion. What we want to do is do a few highlights of what's happened over the last 50 years that MnSD has been privileged to be a part of. We've got a few, we're going to do this in the form of a little bit of a quiz show for you. So, what I want you to do is talk at your table about these two questions. What international event in the 50s really influenced science in the 60s? And how, and what are these kids sniffing? All right, we're going to make them short. Is there any table that did not figure out what the bottom of what the kids are sniffing? Ditto fluid, paper coated with alcohol to put on an image on it, and the kids are smelling the alcohol. Some of the kids were good enough to be able to figure out how many minutes it was since I ran off my copies that we got there. All right, so some more highlights from the 60s. Go ahead. So the 60s was dominated a lot by the Cold War and the space race. That prompted people to say, we really have to improve our science education. It's been too weak. We need to ramp up the rigor. So the National Science Foundation was pumped in with a lot of money. A lot of teachers at this time were able to take 3-week trips all over the country to do professional development, and they put a lot of effort into that. In 1964, as has been mentioned, a few of our forefathers got together and organized a new organization. This is their first newsletter in 1966, highlighting their conference. Now, what I'd like to do is have everybody who started their teaching career in the 60s, please stand. Stand and raise your hand. All right, our real veterans. All right, next time. The 70s. What are these items and how are they used for teaching science? Some of you obviously may know from seeing these things in movies, the film projector. But what about this one? This was the connection to the computers in the first world, the teletype machine. There was one computer for science teaching, I think it was in the St. Cloud area, and we would type on that, it would put holes in a ticker tape, we'd feed it through, we'd hook a phone to it, and we would send our code to this central computer. Later on in the afternoon, we'd get a feedback back and we would type it out there on the screen. It might be tonight's sky chart or some other kind of thing. So the first kind of computers. So some other things that happened, obviously the war, anti-war movement led to a lot of interest in, all right, interest in connecting science to society and societal technique. So science, technology, and society was there. A lot of emphasis on individualization of instruction. We weren't going to be brainwashed by our government. So there was a movement called outcome-based education where kids were intended to learn and retry learning. Anybody know what the symbol is in the middle here? Go metric. We were trying to get our country to go metric, and then, as you know, it didn't happen. One of the things that was interesting, we started up a journal that had a lot of documents and a lot of really authoritative papers in it. This was the first one in 1979, and the issue was all about evolution. Evolution was a big effort, and MnCOSE was very strongly involved in testifying ideas around evolution. So all the teachers who started their teaching in the 70s, please stand. All right. All right, next, the 80s. What are some of the most popular TV shows for recording class views with these new machines called videotape recorders? Can you recognize those?
Newton's apple.
And the one with the old there was trying to get a little bit of the Nova thing in there. And what about the name of that computer? Apple IIe. Notice on the screen, the Oregon Trail. One of our most popular programs from our Minnesota company called MEC. All right, next. Some of the things that happened in the 80s in science education, A Nation at Risk was a report that said, we really are worried about our country not doing as well in science. And whereas some of the movements in the 70s and the 60s had emphasized teaching our scientists, our top students how to be scientists, now it says we got to pay a little more attention to all students. So Project 2061 says, let's figure out what we can do to improve science education by the next time Halley's Comet comes around in 2061. MnSTA had this logo with the atom symbol in there. Most of the conferences were held in one place at Arrowwood Resort in Alexandria. And one of the things that was kind of a favorite activity there was to build water bottle rockets. A guy by the name of Dave Arlander spearheaded that. So, teachers who started their career in the 80s, please stand. So I'm sort of hoping that we end up with some kind of bell-shaped curve and trying to figure out where the peak of the curve is going to be. All right, the 90s. See what we get. What does this sound indicate? Listen closely. And when it goes on and on forever, you know you're in trouble. Okay, enough said. And talk at your table, what made this sheet famous? All right, let's take a look at some of the events that happened in science education. We put together some model standards for states, the benchmarks for science literacy, science education, national science education standards, and the publication of the Atlas for Science Literacy. Many of the stuff is really good, valid stuff, and much of that is the basis for our standards that we had in Minnesota in 2004 and 2009. MnSD was also involved with putting together this support for science education, profile learning, and that in the Midgeville SciMath framework document. You know, there's several people in here who worked on that. And also, MnSTA formed a good web presence with a website, and which has been one of our highlights of our efforts here. So everybody that started teaching in the 90s, please stand. Okay. All right. So we're going to sort of skip the quiz here a little bit and move on to the 2000s. Certainly a big effort was our standards. We had standards in 2004 and 2009. There was a strong emphasis on STEM education that became really big. And that sort of led us to be kind of leaders in the nation in involving engineering in our standards. MnSTA got involved with a project of building a presence, in which we had study groups throughout the state. If you remember the book, 5 Biggest Ideas in Science, a fun study that was going on. Also, MnSTA has been a host to national NSTA conferences. So this is the logo from the 2003 one. I think we did one also in 94 and in 2009. And now we're looking forward to our next one in 2016. A big post for that. So who started teaching in the 2000s? Thank you. And then our current generation, decade, we have the involvement with the frameworks for Minnesota math and science standards. We decided that it would be good to centralize in MnSTA our conferences. So we started the rotation of two years in a row in Magneto, 2 years in a row in Duluth. Consolidation of our strands that we had from our subject area content areas to be all in one conference. Minnesota was heavily involved in now the discovery and the writing of our next kind of research documents around science education, the framework for K-12 science education, and the next generation science standards, which we are heavily involved in helping out the development of, but we still have to wait our turn until 2017-18 before we have an opportunity to go to study those make them part of our state standards. So everybody who started their career in the teens, this decade. All right, so that concludes my part of the presentation. So my observation is
He's a curve, right? Pretty good curve. Thanks, John, for putting this together. Appreciate it. We need to look at the history. It's always good to look at the past because they can move forward. And MnSTA will be there. MnSTA is going to grow. It's going to keep moving, and it's going to lead in science education for another 50 years, for another 100 years. And it's going to take your help, but we can make it work. It's for kids, so we kids. One more time. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, MnSTA. Happy birthday to you. And many more. Without hearing any objection, I declare the meeting adjourned. 7, what? One more thing? Yes?
Tomorrow morning, we need to be sure you know what your chances and your opportunities are. I'll pretend I can talk. At 7 o'clock, for the early risers, you have an opportunity to attend a workshop on mental health at the Verizon Center that will allow you to get your relicensure credits as something you need in mental health. 7 to 8 o'clock, Verizon Center. There's another mental health workshop, slightly different topic, also gives you the CEUs, 9 to 10 o'clock. From 8:30 till 12:30, we have 2 workshops going on. One at Verizon, Mr. Paul Anderson of Bozeman Science, high school focus largely, yes. And he will be there with the title of Engineering a Better Science Classroom. And right here at the Children's Museum, Mr. Matt Borowski is with us. Go wave. He's here. Comes to us from Delaware and is running a session called Phenomenon-Based Learning, which really is appropriate for anywhere from grades 3 all the way through 12. All about using everyday stuff to engage your kids scientifically. So those options are there. We do not have transportation back and forth in the morning, so it's up to you which way you want to go. There will be continental breakfast available at Verizon. There's enough time between 8 and 8:16 to grab a cup of coffee and come over here, or stay there. What questions do you have on the schedule? I'm a teacher, I learned that from you. All right, thanks for being here.
Yes, thanks. Eric, no objection? Any other items? Meeting adjourned at 7:15. Let's have some cake.
Oh man, that was quite a flashback. So